It's Sweetie C, yo, it's Sweetie C, and we're here with another video. Welcome back to our series, Black and White Allies. I'm Sweetie C, I'm black, and my co-host is
John Strader, and I'm white.
Yay! How are you doing today?
I'm a little tired. I've had a long week. I worked Thanksgiving Day and worked Friday all day, so I'm a little tired, but I'm here and excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for all those who have been watching our show, and thank you to all my new subscribers. We are looking forward to having a great show today. I'm just going to go ahead and let you know before we get started. I have on these shades, which I went to an event earlier this month. I went to an event. It's called The Strong is the New Beautiful. And this lady at the event, she sells shades, and her company is called Purple Labels. So you can purchase shades through her. So I just thought her shades are really nice and creative.
They're beautiful on you.
And this is like me wearing shades makes me more comfortable.
Exactly.
On the show. So
and that's what we should be, is more comfortable.
Yeah. So this is gonna be my little trademark now, is me wearing shades.
Well, does that mean I'm going to have to get shades too?
If you would like. You're more than welcome to get some shades.
That would be great.
That would be great.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, get you some dark shades to kind of get you. Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We can wear shades together.
Next show.
All right.
Okay.
We're gonna start a new trend up here, y'all. All right, so we have a lot of things in the news that's been going on today. Well, not today, but just in general since the last show. But we're one of the things that recently happened is an Alabama sheriff was allegedly shot by a deputy's son.
Extremely tragic, because the Sheriff Williams, was going to just turn down some music that was playing loud. It was a peaceful thing that he was trying to do, and he got shot and killed.
And actually, so his name is John, Big John.
Mm-hmm.
That is the sheriff who was killed. And I know in Texas we have an issue with the judicial system, but at the same time, we don't have an issue with good cops. And clearly in this situation from the Washington Post, Sheriff John was actually a good cop, and he has been known to go out to like if there's an issue going on with a bunch of kids making noise, they say he normally goes out there and he's the one that kind of calms everyone down. So he's a well-known sheriff with
peacemaker
in community, right? He's a peacemaker. So as much as I can throw hate to cops, I can also show some love to cops that are actually good out here and who unfortunately have been killed due to an unfortunate situation. I don't think there was any reason for this young boy to shoot the sheriff.
There was none whatsoever. And what's he doing with a handgun? I mean, how old was this youth?
He was 18.
18. And he's using a gun to shoot a sheriff because he was just trying to get a bunch of kids to turn down their music. It just doesn't make any sense. But I like what you said. The whole entire judicial system is not evil. Mm-hmm. I will say there's a big portion of it that is, and that needs to be changed.
Right.
But there are some really good cops, like Sheriff Williams, who unfortunately in this case lost his life. Right.
And I feel like this is something that should really get more headlines. I think it's picking up traction now. But this is really a story that I recently found out about. I actually found out a few hours ago, and I feel like this is a great opportunity to reflect on the good cops, to let them know that we know the difference between a good cop and a bad cop. We're just saying, like, the cops that are actually, the matter of fact, let me put it this way. The way they handled the situation with this young man, how he immediately got arrested and he's being held without bond, I think they were harder on him than they are harder on cops who actually killed an innocent citizen.
Right.
Even in this circumstance, this white boy got more. His justice, I say, was they handled this situation better than they handled the Amber Geiger situation.
Exactly. Who only got what 5 to 10 years, and she'll probably be out in 3, and that whole situation just still boggles my mind.
Right. That's the cop we shouldn't be putting back on the street. You know.
Exactly. And why hasn't Donald Trump come out and said anything about this?
Good point. Why haven't you, Donald Trump, come out and said anything? Is it because of his color?
Exactly. And I'm really outspoken when it comes to Donald Trump, and he is the biggest white racist in this country, if not in the world. And it's just more. It's more evidence in with this situation, with him just being silent about it. That just confirms what I say, that he's a white supremacist, white nationalist racist.
And what's even worse about it is the climate within the police force.
Exactly.
I can't even imagine how the climate is within the police force regarding whites, blacks, Hispanics. You know what I'm saying? How is this helping the police force by Trump picking and choosing who he's going to give accolades to? And apparently he only gives accolades to people of white color, or, you know, I don't even know if he said anything about the Amber Geiger case though.
Well, because that was a situation where she was a white cop.
But I don't even know if he came out and said anything.
Probably not.
I don't
but,
know.
But the whole thing with Donald Trump, in my opinion, is that he spreads nothing but a message of hate in this country and worldwide. He's done nothing good as far as ever since he got nominated and put in the White House.
So do you think if Trump came out and said something in reference to the situation that actually didn't start any additional controversy? Because it seems like every time Trump speaks is when he wants to start some type of rift. But if Trump was to say anything, would that make him look better amongst black people? You think they would kind of feel like, oh, Trump did say something, so he's not racist. He's not. He did give his condolences for this black cop, so he's not racist. He's not a racist.
I'm going to tell a little story
that
my ex-wife told me once.
All right.
And it has to do with a scorpion and a frog.
Okay.
The frog is in the water, and the scorpion is standing on the edge of a riverbank. And the scorpion looks at the frog and says, you know, I really need to get over the other side. Let me jump on your back and you can float me over to the other side of the river. And the frog says, no way. You're a scorpion, because you're going to get on my back. We're going to get halfway across the river. You're going to sting me with your stinger, and we're both going to sink and drown and die. Okay? Scorpion goes, no, I promise I won't do that. You know, keeps bugging the frog. Frogs keep saying no. Finally, after much talking on the whole thing, the frog relents and says, okay, climb on my back, and I'll take you over to the other side of the river. So the scorpion jumps on the back of the frog. They get halfway across the river. The scorpion stings the frog, and they both sink, and they both die. Well, in my opinion, Donald Trump is the scorpion, and the frog is those people that oppose Donald Trump. He's a scorpion. He's going to sting anybody who opposes him, and try to take him down.
Well, he's doing a lot of stinging, and
Trump is Trump.
A lot of people are going down with the fight.
Well, and my point is, no, I don't care what this man does, what this man says. It's just a bunch of camouflage. It's just a bunch of smoke, you know, and he's not to be trusted.
No, he's not.
So,
I mean, but some people, I don't know, some people trust him for some reason. They're
because they're stupid and naive. because they believe in his rhetoric. They think that just because he's not quote unquote a politician, that he's a businessman, that he's out to change the whole political makeup of America. And he's not. You know, when you really look at Donald Trump as a business person and what he did, you know, as a business person, the way he got the deals that he got, the reason he was successful in the business ventures that he was successful in is because he bullied people. He made them afraid. He instilled fear into them. And that's what he tries to do with America, with Africa, as we'll be talking a little bit more about that pretty soon here.
Right.
He just instills fear, and so people believe in his lies, his rhetoric.
Why y'all believe in his lies and rhetoric? But I'm sure there's going to be some Republican supporters out there who feel like he has done some great things for them. But before we get into that a little bit further, I do want to touch base on the Alabama on some more details regarding the Alabama sheriff's death. They will be having funeral arrangements. So a visitation and funeral will be held at Garrett Coliseum on Coliseum Boulevard in Montgomery on Monday, December 2nd, Murphy said. Visitation will begin at 8 a.m., and the funeral will follow at 11 a.m. Sheriff Williams will be led to rest in the cemetery of Shiloh Primitive Baptist in Haneyville. Governor Kay Ivey has ordered flags be flown at half staff on the day of the sheriff's interment. So, so they are holding funeral arrangements for him. It looks like they're going to have flags for him, so that's good news.
Yeah.
I just hope nothing. Hopefully nothing will taint what's going on so far. I don't want to hear. I haven't really heard much about the situation.
Right.
So hopefully nothing worse will come out of what we already know. Maybe we'll know why this kid decided to shoot the sheriff. Why did the kid shoot the sheriff? Like, what was that?
That's number one. And number two, that justice comes out of this. Okay.
Right.
Again, we look at our American flag. Okay. What does the American flag stand for? Liberty and justice for all.
For all. So that's for all of us. So that's one of the things that are in the latest news. We have mentioned we're going to talk about things that are going on in Africa. And one of the things I would like to talk about is the situation that's going on in Zimbabwe with American farmers wanting to farm, and the sanctions that have been placed on our people, our brothers and sisters from Zimbabwe. So basically, Robert Mugabe, before he passed, he wanted all the white farmers to give back the land to the people, which makes sense. So they can farm and produce food and take care of their communities. And so he started the movement of removing farms from white people.
Right.
Well, apparently, of course, the racist white people got upset about that, and the United States of America and the EU have sanctions against Zimbabwe. Now, they've been having sanctions even when Obama was in office, and when Trump took over office, they extended the sanctions, and they're telling the people of Zimbabwe, if you do not, they're telling the people from Zimbabwe, if you give white people their farmland back, then we will reduce the sanctions that we have. And I just think that's
bullying
crazy.
And fear. Yeah, it is crazy.
Like, because I also read where Americans and the farmers here were suffering, but my thing is, what is the purpose of white Americans farming
over there in Africa? it doesn't make any sense. When you consider this fact, okay, that is that South Africa, 80% of the population is black. Okay, only 4% of the land is owned by 80% of the people.
So you're saying in most places in Africa, they don't own majority of the land? They own majority of the land, and they are using the land to produce food for Americans, or are they using the land to produce food for the world? Or because they're expecting what the people like Zimbabwe. If the white farmers in Zimbabwe, do the people from Zimbabwe have to buy food from the white farmers now when they can farm their own food? Is that what?
Probably so. I mean, that's what it looks like, doesn't it? I mean, isn't that what it appears to you, that white nationalist supremacists are just manipulating and utilizing the land that is farmed on, not for black people's needs, okay, but for their own needs, for their own wants, their own desires. It's if you look at the way that colonists, how they interfered with just here in America alone with indigenous people, Native Americans, how they just came in and took over. This land really belongs to Native Americans and blacks because they settled here long before any white colonists did. But
my question is, do you know where white people came from?
Europe.
Europe? So they just literally came from Europe.
That's my education, what I know.
So is white people's culture so it'll be the European culture, right?
Correct.
So do you practice your European culture?
I don't.
Why are Americans, if they're European, why they separate themselves as Americans versus European?
I don't have an answer to that one, to be honest, because I don't know. I don't know why they don't.
Have you ever met anybody, a European?
Have I met? Yeah, I've met.
When I say that, people like, hello, he is European. He's from America, so to me, someone from Europe.
I mean, my mom's, mom and dad, they were born and raised in Germany before they came over here.
Okay.
My dad has, French and German ancestry. So, my ancestry has been European.
But they don't teach that. They teach American history.
Right.
And you never question that? Or is there a big difference?
No, because you were taught not to question it, basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder, what are we being taught about our culture? I mean, I can tell you what we as black people are being taught about our culture, but I really don't know what is a white person or a European taught regarding their culture when they're actually from Europe, but they are learning the culture of American history. And so
exactly, and they're not being taught anything about what happened before. Really, they came over here as colonists. I mean, about the heritages and that type of thing, the history of Europeans. I, basically learned from when the colonists arrived in America, and I was taught that Christopher Columbus, discovered America, which we all know is not true. I was taught that the colonists came over here and, met the Native Americans, and they all sat around a big table and celebrated Thanksgiving because they were so happy together. When in reality, they came over here and slaughtered just tribe after tribe of Native Americans because they were considered savages. Just like, going over and stealing and bringing blacks from their home in Africa and bringing them over here and chaining them up and putting them up on auction blocks like animals because white colonist Europeans looked at black people as animals.
So there's really no purpose on why they are. We can all. I guess I could say, with farming in Africa, and we have farms here in the United States, and you're saying you want to make America great again, why are you
Stay
in,
away from that word
Africa?
again. I hate that word again, okay? Because America's never been great, as far as I'm concerned. Because of what has happened to the black people, because of what has happened to Native Americans, in my opinion, America has never been great.
Right, but they want to make it great. So if you have white farmers in Africa and you need farmers here in the United States, why are you in Africa wasting and killing I won't say killing your own people, but why are you just wasting that time? Why are you not investing in America? Why is it so hard for white people to nominate white people who actually invest in them?
Because it's much easier to just go over there and manipulate as they have in the past, and it's a thing of let's take this for just a moment, and that is, if you really look at how America was built, okay, first of all, blacks worked in the cotton fields, they worked in the fields, okay, they built the White House. Anything that has really been great as far as farming and things that were built here on American soil has been by black people and by Native Americans and by Hispanics. Okay, the white people have depended on other races to make them look superior, to make them look like they're in power and control.
But haven't they figured out that they don't have to force people in order for them to look
obviously they haven't.
In control? Because it's very interesting how Americans do all this. Well, I would say the racist white Americans do all this just negativity throughout the world, but you're still poor. You're still in $1 trillion debt.
$1 trillion in
you
debt.
haven't gained anything by robbing from anybody. Like you can't even manage the money that you robbed.
Exactly.
So, and it's funny how Africa is still rich, and they ain't attacked anybody. Like Africans haven't attacked anybody.
Nobody.
And they're rich. So that should let you know, maybe if you quit attacking people and start focusing on yourselves and really rebuilding in America in the way that it should be rebuilt in order for everyone to be successful. And if everyone's successful, you would definitely be successful, because they'd be looking at, wow, we are successful. White people made us successful. Then you get your accolades and you get your power back and you're good.
And you know what this is all leading me to is going back to what I discussed on our last show. And that is that, well, maybe white people need to have a brain chip implanted into their head to control their thinking, because their thinking it's just not coming around. They're just not waking up, and they need to wake up.
Yeah.
But, maybe sometimes you have to go to that extreme. And I know you made the comment of, well, that's making people into robots. Well, is that not such a bad idea when this whole time, all they've been doing is thinking the wrong thing and doing the wrong thing? It's kind of like, insanity. A majority of white people that are racist, okay, it's like they fall right into that definition of the word insanity. Because what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results.
So people may say that are you bashing white people?
I am bashing white nationalists, white supremacists, and racists.
Okay, so let's clarify it. So he's not bashing white people.
Oh, no.
We don't have an issue with white people. We just have an issue with people that are extreme racist for no reason. Like, you have no reason to be in Zimbabwe forcing them to give white people farms, and the United States has no reason to be putting sanctions on Zimbabwe.
Exactly.
When keeping people from eating. Like, I can understand if the people from Zimbabwe were attacking white people, or they were just doing all just outrageous stuff. But literally, they're just trying to feed themselves.
Exactly.
And you have these sanctions on them. So I just think you need to remove the sanctions.
It's just like You know, I hear racists come out and say, oh, well, you know, that happened 400 years ago. You need to stop complaining about it. No, it didn't happen just 400 years ago. It's been happening for the last 400 years, where when a black person tries to excel as far as their education, as far as their jobs, as far as equality, and having the same privileges and things in life as a white person does, and they've been constantly come against and knocked down. When you hang and when you murder innocent black people, it's just like being over there in Africa, keeping them from growing and having land to farm on. It makes absolutely no sense. If you have any brain cells in your head, none of it makes any sense.
That's right. So some of y'all smoke too much.
You know what? I think
they smoking the wrong thing.
The wrong thing. Okay, they're not smoking any good ganja. Okay?
Yeah.
They're smoking the bad stuff.
So let's pick up a topic. You had came across some interesting individuals. So let's discuss.
Sure. One, and this is a gentleman that, you know, I grew up, you know, in California. I grew up watching the Golden State Warriors basketball team, and I've been a big Warriors fan since 1971. And there's a gentleman who currently plays with the Warriors by the name of Stephen Curry, and I just love the way he handles himself. I love the way that he comes out, and not only is he a great superstar in the NBA, but he's very humble and he helps out a lot of people. In fact, let me just read this to you real quick here. Stephen Curry has supported a wide variety of charities throughout his career, including the Animal Rescue Foundation, the United Nations Foundation, and Nothing But Nets. He also travels all over the world fighting causes such as AIDS, animals, children, environment, health, human rights, peace, and women. For instance, Nothing But Nets is an organization to raise awareness and money in the fight against malaria, a leading cause of death of children in Africa. All in all, Stephen Curry is always giving back to the community and is a team player both on and off the court. You know, one of my real things that touches my heart is children. You know, and especially when we see so many children that are affected over in Africa with malaria. You know, and we have so much technology and so much knowledge and so much wisdom of how to battle this. And to see Stephen come out and, you know, become a part of that, to help those children over there. Children are the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, in humanity, because they are our future. They're the future. And Stephen Curry is coming out to really aid in that. Now you have a few.
Yeah. So the guy that I would like to mention is historian and author. So basically what we're doing is we're acknowledging
individuals in the Black community that are stepping up to help their communities as well as communities around the world.
Exactly.
The humanitarians.
Basically humanitarians. And so these are people who we noticed and who we recognize, who we're recognizing. So the person I came up with is historian and author John Morrow. He is the first African American to win the prestigious award for military writing. And just to go into a little bit more, so military historian, author Dr. John H. Morrow Jr. is the 13th recipient of the Pritzker Military Museum and Library Literature Award for Lifetime Achievement in Military Writing. Morrow is the first African American to receive the award. The Pritzker Literature Award, which includes a gold medallion, citation, and $100,000 honorarium, recognizes and honors the contributions of a living author for a body of work dedicated to enriching the understanding of military history and affairs. Morrow received the award at the ceremony in Chicago earlier this month. He says, I am truly honored to accept the 2019 Pritzker Military Museum and Library Literature Award for Lifetime Achievement in Military Writing. He said, receiving the award after nearly 15 years of historical writing, teaching, and consulting constitutes the ultimate affirmation of my career as a scholar of the history of modern war society. So congrats to you.
Yeah, what a brilliant mind.
Wow, yes.
What a brilliant mind. That's what puts chills all over me is, yeah, that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah. First African American, we still hating our first marks.
One of these shows that we do here, I wanted just to be on the history of great Black achievers and achievements that they've accomplished. And there's a lot of them out there, a lot. The list goes on and on.
And I think if we highlight more accomplishments of our Black people, then it will encourage more Black people to take that leap forward into seeing what they can do, what they can achieve.
Exactly.
And get you outside that box.
And not only that, but hopefully, someone who's listening that's white and they have that confused, warped thinking that Blacks can't really achieve things in this world, will look at that and they'll wake up. Because again, it's all about, for the white people out there that are still sitting in that position in their head where they don't think that Blacks are people, that they're individuals that really can't add to society, that they'll wake up and they'll go, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I didn't know they had accomplished that. And they'll start respecting and treating Black people with the respect that they deserve.
And that's what we would like to see as well. And also too, how can you as a white person help a white person to see the accomplishment of a Black person without getting jealous or without saying, oh, they're taking over, you know what I'm saying?
Opening your mind. You have to come to a position, as I did. I finally came to a position that said, you know what, and maybe, and not maybe, but again, this goes back to who I am as far as my birth sign. I'm an Aquarius. And Aquarius people, and they will agree with me on this, we have an open mind. We take knowledge and wisdom in, and we turn it around in our heads, and we discern it, and we educate ourselves with what we're taking in. But we have to have an open mind to do that. You have to put yourself in a position where you go, I am going to have an open mind. I'm going to listen to what Black people have to say. I'm going to listen to Black history. I'm going to study Black history. I'm going to find out what Blacks really went through as a race. Again, that's not taught in our schools. It's taught during the month of February. It's Black History Month.
And it's the same history, and it's not. It doesn't really go into depth. Like,
it doesn't go into detail about what really has happened to the Black race.
And I don't even know if they do modern accomplishments. So
that too.
In the teacher's field. So from my understanding, I just received a nod from a teacher that they do not do modern Black history. So that means that the same Black history that I learned in school is the same Black history that y'all teach in these 2019 generation, which is good that you're teaching it, but it definitely needs to be longer than a month. It needs to be a whole curriculum.
There has to be an entire school year, exactly. It has to be a class that is a mandatory class that you go to, like math or biology or PE, physical education, and teach the roots of it, not just what sounds good and won't ruffle any feathers. You know what? Let's ruffle some feathers.
Well, speaking of that, Ruffle, what did you think about when George Bush changed the curriculum to put white people in a better light?
Again, it just all that shows me is it's segregation.
Do you notice the change in the curriculum?
A little.
Yeah.
A little.
No.
It's been the same.
Oh, it's been. Oh. So apparently they've been lying for a long time anyway. So
yeah.
It's been the same. So I have a teacher right here, so I'm using her as a reference. She's actually teaching currently in school. So the curriculum, the history of white America, but I don't think actually white American history is altered as much as European history in what they teach in Europe.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that's good, but when you hear like having conversations or you kind of watch and see these maybe YouTube videos of these Europeans' ideas, it's crazy how the history doesn't align with each other
at all. At all. And my big thing too, being an Aquarian, is I just want the truth to be told. Okay, we're big on truth, and the truth hasn't been told, hasn't ever been told. It's continuous lies. It's just like Donald Trump coming out and saying that white farmers are being genocide. There's genocide going on over in South Africa with white farmers.
That's what they were saying
Wrong.
I won't say Trump specifically said it. I won't say he didn't say it, but I don't think he said that. But I think that they have put out in certain news clips that they were like the Africans were attacking the white people and causing genocide. But then again, it's like in context of what is actually going on over there.
Donald Trump came out. Okay, President Trump waded into South Africa's proposal to seize land from white farmers, saying in a post on Twitter late Wednesday that he had asked Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to closely study that the large-scale killing of farmers, a claim disputed by official figures in the country's biggest farmers group. Mr. Trump's comment came after the Fox News, who would ever watch Fox News in the first place, I don't know why, host Tucker Carlson, another white racist, presented a late-night program on South Africa, including land seizures and homicides, and described President Cyril Ramaphosa as a racist. No, Tucker Carlson, you and Donald Trump are rasists, okay? And the thing about white farmers being killed, okay? Here's the whole deal around that.
And just let me just say this. He's referring to white farmers in South Africa now that are being killed. And I would just like to say a point. So I tried to like literally just defend Trump, and I literally just got debunked.
I'm sorry.
A few minutes ago. And he brought out the truth that Trump did say it. So see how easy it is to think that Trump doesn't say these things, but he does say these things. But it's like because he does so much other stupid stuff.
Oh, God.
This is like miss. So now go ahead. Thank you for enlightening me on this.
Well,
and
what they found statistically about with these white farmers over in South Africa being killed, it was not because that they were white. It's because they had put their farms in areas where they were vulnerable and open to robbery. And that these killings had to do with their farms being robbed, had nothing to do with the fact that they were white. But Donald Trump, the racist that he is, he wants to spread all that hate monging, that hate rhetoric, put it into, white farmers are being genocide. No, sorry.
It's white farmers being in an area where they're not familiar with,
and shouldn't be having that land in the first place.
shouldn't be having that land, and then you want to sit up here and put in lie on the community, the South African community, saying that they're just out of nowhere just killing white farmers as if they are racist. But no, when you're coming to, see, you have to understand that you're coming to someone's environment where they're not familiar with who you are. They're just trying to feed their family. So whoever would have occupied that location, you're saying would have been robbed.
Exactly. Regardless of what race you were, those robbers had no intention of killing somebody just because they were white or black or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was because they were white in that situation. Those white farmers had put themselves, because they were not familiar with the land, they were not familiar with the whole makeup of where their farm was. Mm-hmm. Again, they put themselves in a vulnerable situation. It'd be like, walking out on, standing on the edge of the freeway, okay, and you're a white person, and the freeway, it's traffic, and it's rush hour traffic, and there's cars speeding by and stuff like that. And as a white person, you're just going to walk out, try to cross that freeway, and just by chance, a black person hits you with their car.
Right.
Well, you should have told yourself, well, I'm at the edge of the freeway, cars are speeding, back and forth. I shouldn't have probably crossed that freeway. Well, you shouldn't have put your farm in a foreign, another country. That wasn't your business to have a farm there in the first place. Come back over here. Do something over here. Don't be trying to manipulate a situation that you have no place being in.
For real. Do white people secretly think they're superheroes or something?
Yeah. I mean, look at all the
movies. They got some superpowers.
Look at all the movies except for Black Panther. And I gotta see that movie. I have not yet seen that movie.
Wow.
I don't go to movies. My ex-girlfriend, she was like, she would bring up all movie titles and actors and actresses, mm-hmm. and I'd kind of just sit there kind of dumbfounded, like, who are you talking about? I've never been a movie-going person mm-hmm. all my life. But when you look at, so many of the quote-unquote superheroes that are white, I mean, doesn't that tell you something, too, about the whole makeup of Hollywood and this nation? I mean, look what Tyler Perry had to finally do, Mm-hmm. Remove himself from Hollywood, go to Atlanta, and build his own recording studio, which is just phenomenal. I've seen videos on that.
Yeah, we are aware of the Hollywood community. They are right now, unfortunately, is a lack of black actresses and actors, yeah. and the roles that they are giving them. They're giving them roles that portray our culture in a way that's misleading. Very misleading.
And why aren't there more superheroes that are black? Look at Star Wars. Let's look at Star Wars, mm-hmm. okay? How come more of the important characters are not black? Han Solo, he's not black. Okay, Skywalker, he was not black. If you look at the characters in Star Wars, how many of those characters are black?
Is that one character with the shades?
Okay, one.
Yeah.
One character. And now I'm going to go to another one. Does everybody remember the movie The Matrix?
Yeah, that's my movie.
Who was the one? Who was the one that was supposed to free everybody, free humanity from the machines?
Keanu Reeves, but you know what? I can't even get mad at him.
Well, I know.
I can't even get mad at you for that role because you played that role. Like you played that role. I know.
All I'm saying is, how come more and more leading roles, more and more important roles, aren't portrayed and played by blacks?
Because they have a con. It's just they're afraid of putting black people in the power.
You said it.
Power,
afraid.
And it's like but I don't know, because even with black people, we're very inclusive. So I just really don't understand why are you still using that as excuse. I mean, there's a lot of black people who support white people. We are, we're merged in relationships.
But you see, it's not just black people they're afraid of. They're afraid of any person of color. Look what they did to Japan. Okay, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, granted that was not a great thing that Japan did. But what did America do to show their control and power? They dropped a big, huge bomb and destroyed Japan.
So they wonder why there's a lot of threats. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I still feel like white people have the power to project a certain
Love,
type of love that
peace,
could be seen around the world, instead of putting this illusion that you're doing it. Actually do it, and you'll see that more people around the world are accepting of that. They're not like, it's not about a power thing. It's about like working together. Like, we're going to have to work together to figure out this climate change. It's not just Americans. You need to work with different people across the world. You got to work with people regarding trades, trade agreements. And not everybody wants to trade with a group of racist white people when they're known for being corrupt all the time. So that just lets you know that the contract that you have is not going to be upheld. Now, if it's a white contract, they want that upheld for forever.
right?
You can't break a white contract, but
Well, and I think World War I and World War II did a lot of crazy things in the minds of Americans, but mostly those of white people, because America going in and defeating the Germans in World War I and World War II and being the supreme ally, that they got this reputation that went to their head, and they just blew it out of proportion too. Look at our Marine Corps, how they train their individuals. People that enlist and join the Marine Corps. If you've ever watched any movies concerning the Marine Corps, they're tough guys.
you can't talk about the Marine Corps. I can't talk. They're very the Marine Corps don't play.
But you see, that's the kind of thinking. And again, I'm not knocking the Marine Corps. I'm just saying that it's like it's ingrained.
That they're superior.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stop being superior. Just love humanity and be at peace with humanity.
I mean, I feel like there are times where everybody needs, to have soldiers ready, but I just feel like the Americans use their soldiers just for the stupidest reasons, just to go out there and try. They want some oil from somebody, so they want to take it.
Right.
Instead of them negotiating a deal,
right?
They want to just take it, and then they come back and tell us, "Oh, these people were cruel. They treated their people bad, and we had to just get rid of that leader because he's just an awful leader." But while we were there, we found some gold and some oil that we just decided we might as well go ahead and take while we're there.
Right, while we're there. Okay. And here's a war that really, having been in the military myself, okay, I served 4 years on a submarine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. That's what's up.
In the military, you're taught to follow orders. Mm-hmm. Okay? And if you don't follow those orders, certain consequences and things will happen to you. My heart goes out to a lot of soldiers that served in the Vietnam War. Mm-hmm. Because when they went in and they burned down villages of innocent women and children, a majority of those times that those atrocities happened was because there was a commanding officer that said, either you do this or you die. There have been a lot of soldiers that came back from Vietnam that said they feared for their lives. They did what they did because they knew that their commanding officer would have put a bullet in their head that they didn't.
Well, there's a lot of stories that we don't know about.
Do not know about.
And it's really sad that is an environment where it's like they have another. It's another illusion entity. You know, even with Trump going after the guy from the Navy, interfering in the Navy's business, and it's like there needs to be a line drawn, but there's no line drawn.
No.
So even with commanders, there needs to be a line drawn, but there's no line drawn.
No.
But there's no one to enforce those lines to be drawn. So it's like you have other commanders who know that this may not be the right path to go down, but again, it's that culture where it's okay to allow the corruptness to pass to a certain degree, as long as it don't get attention, I guess.
Right.
As long as it don't get attention. But why aren't you stopping it? Like, why is that okay? Why is that really?
Because more and more
helping
officers are not held accountable. I mean, and not just officers. Who was this? I don't know if he was a SEAL or he was acquitted or he was given what's the word I'm looking for? It was a Navy guy that committed war crimes.
I think that's the one we're talking about. That was, yeah.
Is that the one we're talking about?
That's the one I was talking. Yeah.
And he was acquitted of those war crimes, and he was let out of prison. This man committed war crimes. Why are we allowing someone who went against the ethics of this country to suddenly go free?
Yep, and that's what they were saying. They're like, Trump has little understanding of the military. Like,
He has no understanding of the military.
because that's affecting the relationship between other countries. Like, how does it look that we're allowing this guy to get loose for war crimes to some other country who has individuals locked up that we definitely don't want them to get loose?
Exactly.
And they have war crimes against the United States of America. So when they see the United States of America is doing it, then they're like, oh, we can do this too. And then you have the next president has to go in and we got to go to war again we got to go start all over again.
It's like a vicious circle that keeps going round and round. It's like a hamster on a wheel, you know?
And to me, like, his name is Richard Spencer was asked to resign by Defense Secretary Mark Esper after expressing his concerns about the war crimes case. And it's really dissatisfying that Richard Spencer had to go to this, but at the same time, it's like, what are your comrades doing? Like,
right.
Literally no one in the...
Who was intercepting or coming in between this military person and the war crimes that he was committing? Who was in there to stop him from doing that? Nobody. There was no commanding officer that was there to stop him from committing those war crimes, when there should have been. There should have been a protocol, and there wasn't.
And so, rightly so, it shouldn't just be the guy who committed the war crimes. It should be some of the commanders who weren't there to...
They should be held accountable as well.
So it's a hot mess, but at the same time, like, all of it is just ridiculous. But again, to me, the most disturbing fact is that Trump has the ability to interfere without understanding what is actually going on, without caring. He doesn't care. He doesn't care to understand about the military. He doesn't care to understand about our politics. He doesn't care about none of this stuff. Yet he's getting all these accolades for making an American
because
great.
Donald Trump loves attention, and what he said 20 years ago in a press release, which he was talking to a reporter. Reporter asked him if he ever thought about, or wanted to be elected president one day, and how he would accomplish that. And he came out and said, and this is how stupid this man is too. He came out and said, all I have to do is tell people what they want to hear and they'll elect me. Donald Trump, okay, listen up. Donald Trump doesn't care about who you are, what you are, as long as you pay him attention and agree with his rhetoric and succumb to his bullying. He does not care about you. He cares about himself. Period.
That's true. In the moment you disagree with him, you are out. If you don't align yourself with every little thing, that means if he likes Bluebell ice cream, you better like Bluebell ice cream.
Exactly.
If he likes red bubblegum, you better chew you some red bubblegum. You better get it right.
Well, and I read a thing on Google, okay, and we had this discussion prior to the show, and I know our engineer disagreed with me on this, but Donald Trump, if he is elected president again, he will do his best to imprison all those who disagree with him. And the comment was, are you ready to go to prison if Donald Trump is elected president again?
I don't disagree. I just don't think he'll be reelected.
I'm praying he isn't.
I agree with you, though.
And honestly, and that's crazy because that is what I was watching the show. It was a YouTuber, I think it's Tom something, and he said, "Are you ready to go to jail if Trump is elected again?" And
I am.
Wow.
I will not support Donald Trump. And if that means I go to prison or I go to jail, you know what?
Well, we probably don't want to say that right now live, but I get what you're saying.
Okay, do we want to cut that part out?
Sorry, live streaming.
I know. So I guess what I'm bottom line saying is I don't want to support anybody, Donald Trump or anybody, that has committed so many offenses against this country, against its Constitution, and against freedom for people in the United States of America.
And honestly, to kind of when John made his statement, that is better to me. That's a better statement of him saying he would go to jail. Say that again. You said you would do what? You would go to
jail or prison.
Yeah, he said he would go to jail or prison if Trump gets reelected. That is better than saying that he will go out and shoot people.
Exactly.
If Trump is
create
not reelected,
civil war.
Like he's not trying to create no civil war. He just, if you're protesting against something, and if you're protesting and way things are going right now, there's a high possibility of you going to jail.
Right.
That's a difference.
And don't get me wrong. It's not like I won't put up some kind of resistance or a fight to going to jail or prison, but in the end, if that's where I end up, at least I ended up there because I would not support someone who is just, I don't know, he's just not the best person to be in the country. We were really we didn't mind if he was on The Apprentice. You know what I mean? That's a whole different situation, whole different scenario. That was all good. We laughed. Like, oh, there's Trump on Apprentice. But now Trump as a leader, like, oh, no.
Non-violent civil protest.
So, yeah, we're referring to non-violent civil protest if that was to occur.
Exactly.
But we don't even know if it will occur, so don't take it too extreme.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I definitely wanted to clarify that for anybody because we're not advocating violence or anything
at all. And I again, going back to my being an Aquarius, I in no way promote violence.
Right. Yeah, we're just adamant about how our feelings about the situation, and we're putting our opinions out there.
Right.
And as much as as much as I dislike Trump policies, I really hate when people say like, "Oh, you hate Trump." I don't hate Trump.
Right.
I just dislike his policies, and I feel like he's not the best person in this position as far as the president of the United States of the world. I don't think he has any type of
should not be president.
I don't even think him, the vice president, a lot of people in that White House should be there. Like they have no type of experience. It's clearly a self-agenda. Yeah. And when you get fed up, you just get fed up. You gotta be able to let it out. You know
and that's where I'm at. I'm fed up with it. Okay, this has just been a mockery over the last 4 years. Total mockery.
Yeah, and so we touched on a lot of stuff today. We touched on the Alabama sheriff incident. We touched on the farmers in Zimbabwe. We touched on farmers in South Africa. We touched on Black people are doing great things within our
Great
community.
things. I'd love to have Stephen Curry on the show one day. You know, I did send him an email.
That's what's up.
I sent Stephen Curry an email to come on our show either by phone or in person. So we'll see if he ever answers that email. So
Well, that's what's up. I'd like to have you on the show because I would think, because of the fact that you are very active in your community,
right.
you can give us a lot of advice on how to, you know, start being active within our community. Or even if we don't have the time to be active, what are some of the things that we can do to support, even if we don't have the money? So there's a lot of things I suggest. You know, sharing a video is a support. Subscribing to this channel is a support. You know, these are free things that you can do to kind of to support people who kind of just bringing awareness to what's going on, current events. You know what I'm saying? What's going on currently in our own opinions. But yes, Curry, come on.
Amen.
You're not alone. You're not the only one. So, do you have anything else to say before we end the show?
My mind's kind of blank. You know, I encourage people to wake up. You know, I just want to see more and more people waking up. I want to start reading things in the news where this world, this country, the state is doing things and coming against things as far as racism. That's my, you know, I know it's crazy, but my dream is before I die to live in a world where everybody's equal.
Y'all better get to that quick, cause
because I'm going to be 60 in February, so.
Now honestly, we all want to be equal, and even if it's unequal, it's just the drastic of unequalness is just ridiculous. You know,
It's gone on for too long.
It's gone on for too long. But at the end of the day, we here on the show, Black and White Allies, appreciate you watching. And if you like to leave any comments below, that'd be nice on your thoughts of Trump and on your thoughts of what's going on with the Alabama incident,
And what's happening in South Africa.
Yeah, what's happening in South Africa, what's happening in Zimbabwe. Do you think that white American farmers should be in Zimbabwe or in South Africa or anywhere in Africa? Or should they just be here? Should they come back to the United States of America and start building farms here in the United States where we can make America great again and we can start producing our food?
There you go with that word again.
I say that word because I think that's a trigger word for white people. Like,
okay.
Yeah, let's make this place again. Because I really do believe a lot of white people want to make America great.
America great.
But it's not again. Because it's never been great.
Sorry. It just hasn't.
All right, y'all. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share this video. And it's Sweetie C. Yo, Sweetie C. Now what? Talk to you later.
Bye.